Hello, everyone. It's Sibyl Star, and I am here to give the astrology forecast for the Aquarius new moon that occurs on January 21st. I have entitled this new moon, We Can See Clearly Now, because I do feel like this new moon is an energetic downloads and upgrades and moving obstacles so that we really can start to see the way forward. Okay. But to begin with, it is the first new moon of the year, and at this time, there are 5 planets in fixed signs. Fixed signs are very stabilizing and grounding, but can also be very stubborn, and thus the word fixed. Okay. And Aquarius is a fixed sign, and it's hard to believe, Aquarius is an air sign, so it's fixed air. So it can mean, gets very fixed in their ideas. All right. Okay, and also on January 2nd, the ruler of Aquarius, which is the day after the new moon, goes direct. And so all of the planets will be direct. Mars went direct on January 12th, and Mercury went direct on January 18th. And with Uranus going direct, all planets will be moving forward. So it's kind of like full steam ahead. And those logjam of energy that we might have felt, I mean, we probably started feeling it loosening up when some of the other planets started going direct. But now this is a great time now until I would say May 1st. Of course, we do have a Mercury retrograde. In April, the end of April and beginning of May. So Mercury will be retrograde, but it always goes retrograde, certain times. But anyway, I still feel like it's a great time to move forward with any plans that you have. So let's talk about this Aquarius new moon. I'm going to screen share and show you the chart. Okay, so you can see it. Here's my cursor. All right, so what we have here is, first off, the sun and the moon are at 1 degree, 32 minutes of Aquarius. And this new moon occurs at 12, some say 12:53, some say 12:54, in that specific time, PM. And so anyway, here's the sun and the moon, 1 degree, 32 minutes of Aquarius, and it is in an out of sign conjunction with Pluto. So we're going to be talking about that. Now, at the same time, we have a very tight Venus-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius. Venus is at 23 degrees. Saturn is at 24 degrees. And so we've got 4 planets in Aquarius, okay? We also have the planet Uranus, which goes direct the next day, which is the ruler of Aquarius down here at 14 degrees, 56 minutes of Taurus. All right, and I also saw that this new moon is in a grand air trine with Mars here at 8 degrees of Gemini, and trine Ceres here at 6 degrees of Libra. So that makes a grand trine. You can kind of see it here on the chart itself. All right, so those are the main points we're going to be talking about. And of course, Saturn and Uranus are co-rulers of Aquarius. All right, so what does all of this mean? So, all right. So, like I said, the new moon is on January 21st at 1 degree, 32 minutes. Some might say 2 degrees of Aquarius at 12:54 p.m. Pacific. And we know the new moon sets the intention for the next 29 days. And the moon herself represents our emotional body. And at the new moon, it is a more internal, intuitive, spiritual, psychic, and visionary time. If we think of that book, The Red Tent, in ancient times, women would gather during the new moon because when the moon is dark, and that's when most women bled, was during the new moon. They would bleed together and they would vision and create during that time. All right. And so then what does the new moon in Aquarius mean? Well, let's talk about Aquarius. So Aquarius brings in many different aspects, but the first off, Aquarius is one of the signs that need freedom the most. It is very much about and it's very much about the freedom to be yourself. Aquarius asks us to thine own self be true. And it's the rebel, the maverick, and following the beat of your own drummer. I feel like when Aquarius comes along, it's claiming your right to be weird, unique, and different. Okay. Yeah. And Aquarius asks us to be able to live without the approval of others. Um, the thing is if we are living our life in a desire to seek approval from others, Aquarius is energy that is difficult for other people to understand about anyone else because it is our own uniqueness. Okay. And so, why your parents or your friends sometimes just don't get you. This is the Aquarian piece because it is the part that is uniquely you. Okay. And it is about the freedom and liberation for all, not just for yourself, as Aquarius is a sign of the collective. It wants everyone to have this right to thine own self to be true, to live a true and authentic life. Okay. And the thing is, if we are always trying to please someone else, it doesn't allow us to access our own gifts as we may be living someone else's life. And so Aquarius really asks us to step out of that need for approval. And thus it can be seen as the outsider or felt as an outsider because Aquarius doesn't always line up. It doesn't follow the herd. It's also known as the archetype of the exile. Whenever I see Aquarius or Uranus strong in a chart, it indicates there's an aspect of their life where they just simply feel different than others. But it also helps us access our own genius. It's a visionary sign. It is, like I said, it is very much about the future. Aquarius has the ability to see into the future. They say Aquarius is 5 years ahead of everyone else. It's highly intuitive, very humanitarian, and it very much represents the people and working together. And so it's recognizing the power of the group. And of course, that is the shadow side. If we're not living our own individual, unique selves, there is that potential to become part of the herd and lose ourselves in what we would call hive mind. Okay. And there are times hive mind is good. So it's knowing when to work with it and when not to, because it is a paradox that it is very much about our own uniqueness. It's a diversity within unity. Okay. But we're maintaining our own diversity as we come together, bringing our own gifts. It's kind of like an orchestra where everybody brings their own gifts and together they create beautiful music. Okay. But they have their own path and to not lose oneself. And it is the sign of the people. And that's what it represents. All right. And the shadow of Aquarius can be very strongly opinionated and fixed in their ideas, as I mentioned earlier. It can be a rebel without a clue. Aquarius often, really questions authority. And the thing is to do it in a way that actually has meaning rather than just doing it to do it, And and especially the Aquarius moon can be disconnected from the emotional body. All right, it is ruled by Uranus, which is Uranus and Saturn, but the modern ruler is Uranus. And so it's strongly intuitive. Uranus can be like lightning striking. And it's also associated with the quantum field with energy and frequency. All right. Now, the Sabian symbol, I wanted to speak to this first. The Sabian symbol for this Aquarian new moon is a really great one. It's an unexpected thunderstorm. And Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, is traveling in Taurus. And Uranus is one of the planets most connected to weather patterns. And Uranus brings unexpected events, unexpected things. And so, of course, this could indicate, of course, in the next 29 days, there could be some powerful natural weather events. We've certainly been having them in California, and so there's potential for these to continue, maybe hopefully not here, but it could be. Anyway, but when you think of a thunderstorm, there's kind of like the build up and release of tension in the air. And it is like the storm that comes in and clears the path and moves obstacles. Lightning can strike. Flashes of clarity can come like bolts of lightning and illumination. Aquarius, ruled by Uranus, is very much about downloads into and intuition. That can be how this lightning strikes, like I said, this sudden moments of illumination. And also rules the Uranus rules the energy body, so the energy body can be very activated at this Aquarian new moon, getting some energy transmissions. I know I've been having a strange experience lately, and I wake up almost every night, not always at the same time, but when I do, I find that my body is just vibrating. I feel like I have my finger in a light socket. I'm just vibrating, and I feel like there's a real potential for this kind of a thing to be happening. These energy upgrades, that energy upgrades are happening due to increased photonic light. The amount of light and the quality of light coming in is very increased. And so I feel like energy activations are taking place because, of course, Uranus transiting in Taurus, we've been talking about this. What we're moving into is an embodied spirituality. So our body is needing to have all these clearings and energy upgrades as well. We need to be able to hold the light that is coming in. All right. This new moon is conjunct the fixed star Altair, which is the brightest star in the constellation of Aquila, the eagle. And you know how the eagle flies through the storm and then gets above the storm and flies above it. Okay. And so I feel like this is what this is guiding us to as well, knowing the storm is coming, to face it, to fly through it, and then fly above it. And then you don't have to engage with it once you get above the storm. Okay. It's about eagle vision, seeing the big picture and then being able to foretell the future. It's just that intuitive sense. When you have the whole picture, you have a better idea of what is really happening. Okay. Aquila, the eagle, calls for boldness and courage. And in Native American traditions, it is the messenger of the Great Spirit. And I find this very interesting that NASA has said that they are hearing transmissions coming from Altair. I haven't heard, that's really all I heard, but I just find that very interesting. Okay. And so there could be downloads, messages coming from spirit during this time. All right. Now, as I said, this new moon is also conjunct Pluto, which is a much different energy than Aquarius. Aquarius is a very high vibrational kind of an energy, or has that potential to be. Okay. And it, like I said, is connected to the quantum field. Pluto is connected to the emotional body and feeling. And as I said, Aquarius does, it can have the potential, they don't like to feel, can disconnect from their feelings as a defense mechanism. And so, but when Pluto is there, and Pluto is going to be moving into Aquarius, so it's very much about energy upgrades to the emotional body. Okay. And Pluto in March is going to be transiting in Aquarius for 3 months. And Pluto, and then it's a process of moving into Aquarius for over 2 years. Then it's in Aquarius for 20 years. Okay. And it means many things. And Pluto is very much about power. And so I feel like on one thing, it's the energy waves, it's the power of energy and technology, recognizing, our own hardware and our own software. Or let's put it this, I want to say that again. It's the power of energy as it runs through like computers and AI and all of these different things that are outside of ourselves, which I call hardware, versus our own internal psychic, intuitive processes, our own energy processes going on inside of us. And of course, that is the real challenge coming up, is how to utilize technology to help us in the elevation of our own consciousness, but not to take over our consciousness, to help us really expand our own consciousness. Okay. And of course, you know, as I said, Aquarius is the sign of the people. So there are political components as well, as Pluto in Aquarius. Which is, I feel like it's going to be a time when it's about power to the people, when the people start claiming their own power. And it's, you know, it's a revolutionary kind of an aspect. I talked a little bit about Pluto moving into Aquarius in my update for 2023. And I feel like this Pluto, which is still in Capricorn, being conjunct this Aquarius new moon, is kind of like a precursor, kind of preparing us for Pluto, of what we're going to be seeing. Okay. But Pluto is still in Capricorn. And like I said, Pluto, it represents death, resurrection, and rebirth, and a complete transformation of the emotional body, because Pluto makes you feel. You can't go through a Pluto event without feeling. And Pluto moving into the last degrees of any sign, or let's put it this way, Pluto is moving into the last degrees of Capricorn. And the last degrees of any sign have the most intense teachings, because we have the potential to become a master of that sign when it is at 29 degrees. Okay. All right. So I feel like Pluto in Capricorn is about the continued shedding of light on the corruption of our institutions. More and more revelations, they just keep coming. It's like the curtain being pulled back in The Wizard of Oz. But of course, the question is, can we look and discern what is really happening? Pluto asks us to see through the illusion. Okay. Pluto brings in deep intuition, deep inner knowing, and instinct, you know, instinctual wisdom. The veil is falling, and to align what feels, you know, true in your gut. That's, you know, our instinctual selves are activated with Pluto. And it's not just in our external world, it is also about the true nature of reality. And to remember that the external world is a mirror of the inner world. And Pluto also asks us where we are attached. And it can show us our attachments and what we need to let go of, as far as you know, changing ourselves, so then our external world can change. All right. And as we know, you know, Pluto being about death, resurrection, and rebirth, many people are crossing over right now, because I feel like their bodies cannot handle the increased light coming in. You know, we have elements of toxicity in our bodies that are accelerating the process. And so many are dying suddenly. We're just seeing it in all kinds of places. And to know that Saturn, you know, Saturn often brings brings up latent health issues, things that have kind of been hidden. And Saturn is, of course, the ruler of Capricorn, but it's also the ruler of Aquarius. And so this new moon in Aquarius, conjunct Pluto in Capricorn, but anyway, it's been transiting in Aquarius for the last 2 years. And the point I'm trying to make here is Aquarius rules the circulatory system. And we have been dealing with all kinds of health problems related to blood clots, whether that be heart attacks, stroke, and all the different ways blood clots can impact our health. Okay. So I feel like this Pluto conjunct this new moon is very much a cleansing and a purging of what is not true and authentic for us, as well as emotional trauma that we are holding, and having energetic blockages, whether, you know, they're actually shown up in our physical body or not, which, you know, ultimately they will. But any emotional trauma that we are still holding on to, you know, it's really about healing. Pluto is one of the most healing kinds of energy, because it, you know, it comes in and clears the debris, the dead weight, what no longer has life force for us, okay, and what is no longer serving us. But it can sometimes strike like lightning and cause fires, and that's the way it purges, through crisis. Fires are kind of represent, you know, in the alchemical process, to me, fire is the crisis that activates the healing. Okay, and Pluto can be like a volcanic fire, purging through what is deep within our unconscious, and that needs healing and transformation. This would be a great time in this 29 days to get some healing done, because it's like everything is ripe to be released, because these increased light is coming in, and like I said, we need to let go of the old. And the thing is, it may actually come in and burn off some of the old. Okay, they could both be happening at the same time. But it's very much in our emotional body. We need to feel our feelings. We have to feel to heal. Pluto says you got to feel it, and so Aquarius might want to stay disconnected from feelings, but Pluto's just not going to allow it. All right. And, it can show up in many ways. Of course, one way is our body. And I do want to just kind of give you a heads up, as Pluto leaves Aquarius in March and moves into Pisces, the system of our bodies most deeply impacted by Saturn will be the immune system. Okay. So that's why it's so important to get rid of all this toxicity now, because, and as a friend of mine told me, the immune system is really about liquid light, or the lymphatic system. The lymph, which runs through our immune system, is liquid light, and so we have the potential to really light it up if we don't have to already remove all of the. If we have the potential to really light it up, especially if a lot of the old debris has already been removed. Okay, all right. Okay, so recognizing, and kind of more in the outer world, recognizing the ongoing collapse of the institutions of our civilization, but to be like the eagle, to fly through it with focus on your own healing, and then fly above it. And no, that's where we need to be. Engage as little as possible with the drama that is unfolding, and see the big picture. And, Mother Earth has told us in so many times that the best thing we can do to help her is to heal ourselves. Because, there's the indigenous teaching that, when we heal ourselves, we heal 7 generations before us, 7 generations after us, and Mother Earth. And and some say that Mother Earth is already existing in higher frequency dimensions, and our job is to align with her. And to do that, it is so much about releasing the trauma and the emotions tied to the trauma. Our emotional body is being cleansed. Pluto also always brings in healing through forgiveness of self and others, and that is part of the cleansing and purification process, as it allows us to step out of the matrix of control and fear, and actually off of the wheel of incarnation here on Mother Earth. We keep coming back until we can forgive ourselves. It is actually the emotional body that keeps us tied to the matrix, and to the cycle of reincarnation. Okay. And to always remember that the external world is a reflection of our inner world. And at this time, we are seeing the deepest wounds and hurts are activated and coming to the surface. And not just our own personal, but in the outer world. Know that a lot of the suffering that is happening are these deep, unconscious emotional patterns rising to the surface so they can be released. And it is not what happens that matters. It is how we respond to what happens that creates our experience, and thus our reality. All right. So anyway, let's keep going. So I know that was pretty intense, but Pluto is always intense. There's, like I said, there's a grand air trine with Mars in Ceres, and a trine is an easy flow. And so I feel like it's really about the great ideas. Mars just went direct. It's the ability to act on some of our great ideas, and also the importance of others in our life. I feel like the way forward is becoming clearer. Okay, and during the time of this new moon. All right. Now, Saturn, the other ruler of Aquarius, is also in Aquarius, and is conjunct Venus, goddess of love. And, Saturn shows us that for every action, there is a reaction or consequence, or we could say we reap what we sow. And to know that we always have choice. We always have choice of how to respond to the energy or events that come up. We can't always control the events, but we can always control how we respond. And Saturn holds us accountable for our choices. I like to say Saturn says to us to put on our big girl panties, and whatever area of life Saturn is transiting is like, it's a reality check. This is what's happening. And so once you can look at it and go, okay, this is it, then you know how to respond in a way that actually serves you. And in Venus, the areas are finance and relationship. Might have a hard reality check come up around finances, but once you're able to just look at it and say, all right, this is the truth of my situation, these are the choices I'm making, and I'm opening up to all these other possibilities. But it also kind of gives us a plan. It's like when we do that, we also get a plan. Okay, a plan also unfolds of how to meet the energy in a better way. And also, and the thing is, it's a situation, whatever Saturn's dealing with, if we don't deal with it, it gets worse. Also, relationship. We might have to do some work on our relationships, but with the potential to create even stronger and more stabilized relationships. Okay. Solid, and also too, we may find that some of our relationships, we're not able to work things out. That could be another reality there. Okay. And that sometimes it is time we're no longer in the same resonant field with people that we have been in a long time, or have been, and things are just changing. And another thing that might show up with this conjunction is solitude. We may realize that we do need some time alone. Okay. And it's how to have autonomy of self while in a committed relationship. And like I said, relationships could also grow much stronger, and especially friendships. Aquarius is so much about friendship. And they say as we move into the age of Aquarius, that friendships are really what are going to take center stage over romantic relationships. Okay. Or let's put it this way, friendships need to be a part of our romantic relationships. Okay. All right. So in conclusion, I feel like this new moon is a time of potential breakthrough as the storm clears out our path and we can begin to see more clearly the way forward. The air is electrified, the energy is palpable with energetic transmissions and downloads coming in, increased photonic light. But it's also a time of really activation of our emotional body and feeling our way forward. And like I said, Pluto will transition into Aquarius over the next few years, where it will then be for 20 years. So this is kind of like a sampling of that energy. All right, it's a very exciting month. And I just wish you all a wonderful month, sending everyone many blessings. And if you're interested in a reading, I have all my information in the description box below. I guess, yeah, that's it. And my website is there as well. If you liked this video, please check like and subscribe. And then I will see you on the next day. I do my Moon Day morning astrology. All right. Many blessings to all. Namaste.